2 blocks. First block, they're both gonna be on their side. So first block will be a horizontal block and the next block will be a vertical block. If you feel like the block on its side is too much, you can lower it flat. All right, and then I'm gonna suggest a blanket on top of that vertical block just to lift your head up a little bit more and to give you some padding. You can decide whether you want like a shoulder stand size blanket or whether you want a double folded blanket, however much thickness you want on that block. Right, and then we're gonna take a strap. And we're going to put that strap around the shin bones. Great, so strap around the shins. You want it kind of medium tight. You want it to hold your legs together and hold your legs so that they don't turn out, but it doesn't have to be super duper tight. Right, around that meaty part of your calf, just a little bit closer to the knee than the ankle. All right, lay back onto the block. See that this block under your head is in a comfortable place. And then just take a moment there to observe what part of your shoulder blades is hitting that block. Lots of times we lay down with a slightly rounded chest. So we come down more towards the tips of the shoulder blade. So I want you to press, probably with your elbows, maybe you can grab the mat with your hands, you figure it out, what works best for you, so that you can press down and kind of lift your chest a bit and tuck the shoulder blade strongly towards your waist. You may feel a little bit more extension in the lower back, that's fine, as long as it's not uncomfortable. You should feel that the flatter part of the shoulder blades is on the block. Back of the head is resting. Shoulder blades are resting, so the neck can be nice and soft. And then it's your choice. Your arms can be down by your sides or out to the side, whatever feels most comfortable, or you can catch your elbows and bring your forearms over to rest on the part of that vertical block that's sticking out behind your head. If the arms don't quite rest, you can always fold a little bit more blanket up there and make that a little bit taller to support the arms. But I want you to just rest and allow that block to work its magic in the upper back and the chest. You may feel that you have to lift the lower rib cage a little bit, right? If you let the lower ribs just hang, sometimes that would cause a little discomfort on the block or even in the lower back. So just with a nice deep inhalation, kind of lift the lower ribs towards the ceiling a little bit. You should be able to do that pretty easily. This is that effortless effort, right? You have to put the effort into lifting the lower ribs, but once they're lifted, it hopefully will feel effortless. You don't really have to feel like you're contracting a whole lot of muscles. Your arms are over your head. Bring your arms back where you can see them and do the opposite cross of the arms. This is another place where there may have to be a little bit of that effortless effort and create that. It's actually external rotation, but it feels like internal rotation when the arms are over the head. Think of taking your outer arm bones and lifting them up slightly. So that part of the shoulder that's right there next to your jawline there, you're taking that down towards the floor. And that may change what you feel in the shoulder. Nice deep breaths. If the arms are still over the head, bring them down by your sides for a moment. You may have to kind of retuck shoulder blades. And then grab the sides of your mat so you can kind of pull and push. Press with your elbows. You can eventually press with your hands to sit up. And release, strap. And just sit in Svanasana for nice straight legs. You will take Mukha Virasana. Have a block for your head. All right, I'm gonna grab a chair real quick. There's no way I'm getting into Virasana yet. I tried last night, it was not really. All right, so you'll sit with your toes touching, knees apart. If you need any support under your sit bones, between the sit bones and the heels, you'll take it. All right, and then you're gonna have your block. You can have it either on the lowest level or the medium level. All right, most of you, I think, go all the way to the floor, but I want you to have a little support under the head. All right, so you're just gonna come forward, rest your head on the block, and crawl your arms forward. Can you sit on your heels, Ellie? Heels together. Need a blanket. Okay. And let your shoulders, let your hands be a little wider than shoulder width. So maybe not all the way to the edges of the mat, but close, just a smidge wider than shoulder width apart. Good. And find the right place for that block so it's underneath your forehead. Walk your hands back by your knees and sit up for just a moment. You don't need to get a strap. I'm just showing with a strap. Right, I want you to pretend that that your yoga BFF has taken a strap right into your hip crease. All right, and then they are pulling back on the hip crease as you come forward. All right, this is easy to do on the chair. It's not quite as easy to do on the floor. But that hip crease, you're trying to move it back as you reach your arms forward. All right. And then even once you're down, crawl your hands forward and then push with your hands to move those hip creases back. The effect will be that your sit bones will come closer to your heels. Okay, now maintain that reaching forward with the hands, pressing with the hands, hip creases moving back, and lift your face so you're looking forward. Right now, I want you to take your chin down onto that block. You may have to move your hands forward. Take your chin down onto that block. All right, and feel how, with the chin up, that upper back wants to move in a little bit more. Press with the hands, deepen the hip creases. Take your left hand a half an inch farther forward. Take your right hand a half an inch farther forward. From the armpit now. Take your left armpit a half an inch further forward. Take your right armpit a half an inch further forward. There we go. Press with your hands, press them forward so you move the hip creases back. Couple of deep breaths. And then walk your hands back by your knees and come up. If you need to give the knees a break, come up into a short downward facing dog. Anybody need a break on the knees? Okay, now move your block out of the way. Okay, so you're going to repeat that chin up action. All right, so as you come forward, you're going to be reaching the chin forward, sternum bone forward, hip creases back. And I want you to try, your chin probably won't come to the floor, right? But that's what I want you to think, is that you're aiming that chin towards the floor. And you've gotten that extension, and then maintaining that upper back in, you can set the forehead down onto the floor, okay? So really finding that extension through the front of the spine, keeping a nice straight line from the tailbone to the crown of the head. Yes. And then, Ellie, take your hands a little bit wider. Get your elbows nice and straight. Good. And then, again, from the armpits, take the arms a little bit farther forward. And then press. Press forward with your hands and move those hip creases way back. Way back. Getting a nice extension through the sides of your torso. Upper back in. We're getting rid of that roundness that we tend to have in daily life in that lower back. Couple of deep breaths and just observe this action. The pressing of the hands, the moving back of the hip creases, the lengthening of the sides. All right, and walk your hands back by your knees, press to sit up, and you'll come up now into Adho Mukha, downward facing dog. This one is for you. All right, you take whatever version of dog pose feels best for you. You're welcome to bend one knee, straighten the other, really open up those lower legs. We have the one knee bent, we can get the heels all the way down. Really feel that stretch at the lower legs. Then eventually two legs straight. Just hold that dog pose for a couple of breaths. And then come down into any comfortable child's pose and rest for just a moment, knees down. Arms can be wherever they feel comfortable. You can take them back by your sides. You can have them like a cactus. You can have them over your head, but relaxed. Just rest. Slowly sit up. Just peek at me really quickly. We're gonna take Adho Mukha Svanasana again, but we're gonna turn it into an Adho Mukha Virasana without the knees down. All right, so you're just gonna bend the knees, bring them closer to the floor, and then you're gonna repeat what you did in Adho Mukha Virasana. Right? So from the armpit, move forward, right? Look forward, and then as you press forward with your hands, move your hip creases back. You can pulse it a couple of times. This is gonna make this more of a back bend. You're gonna feel it more in your shoulders. Right, to straighten the legs, you'll come up onto your toes. So you see my back isn't moving, right? And then you can pull back at the thighs and relax the head, right? But remember that really intense Adho Mukha Virasana that we did. And repeat that in your downward facing dog, okay? Now, you don't have to hold the dog pose beyond what's comfortable for you. So if you need to come down and rest, you'll come down and rest. We're gonna do this a couple of times, right? So take your dog pose, then you're gonna bend the knees and not think of a dog pose, think of that Adho Mukha Virasana. Armpits forward a little bit. Look towards your hands so you feel that sternum bone moving forward, upper back in, and then press with the hands to take the hip creases back. You're gonna feel more in your arms, your shoulders, your upper back. And then to straighten the legs, stay up on your toes and just think of taking your hips up. Do that a couple of times because the tendency there, the stiffness, pushes our chest forward. So do it a couple of times and keep that chest moving towards your thighs. Okay. Come down and rest whenever you need to. Do you want to mat over that sharp edge? It's really sharp.
Oh, it's also I slip.
That too.
I mean, this is my first camera dog.
All right, so try that again. When you bend the knees, think of Adho Mukha Virasana. It's a lot more muscular because you don't have the same support of the floor. That looks really good. Now try to maintain that. Keep that chest right where it is. There you go. Lift your hips. Couple of times. Bend the knees. Find that length in the sides and then let it just be the hips lifting. Really getting that length through the sides. Come down and rest whenever you would like. Now, you're just gonna use that as a way to come into Adho Mukha Svanasana. All right, so it doesn't have to be a long, drawn out thing. You're just gonna come to your downward facing dog, bend your knees, press back, and then come to your dog pose. All right, so don't belabor it, but find that length in the torso. Keep the chest toward the legs and just come into your Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then you're just gonna hold that Adho Mukha Svanasana. You can now let your head completely relax. You don't have to keep looking at the hands. Have a nice deep breaths. And then and feet towards each other. Stand up and just take a little Tadasana. You can have your feet apart if that's more comfortable. Just be in Tadasana, just feel the sensation in the hips, the upper back, the shoulders, even in the neck. It's a lot of work for the neck. All right, you're gonna grab what you need to sit in Virasana, classic Virasana now. Knees together, feet apart. If you want to block, if you need some height, you can take that. I'm going to sit on a chair. You are going to need a strap, so make sure you have a strap nearby. All right, so Virasana, where the toes are pointing back. Enough space between the feet that you could sit down onto the floor if you really wanted to. Right now, adjust your sit bones and your buttocks back. Okay, but watch that that doesn't lead to you pushing the top of the pelvis forward, pushing that lumbar spine forward. All right, so you want that back so you're getting the pelvis upright. So you're going to shift your weight so you feel an evenness on the sit bones. You're not more on the front, you're not on the back, you're in the middle. All right, and then grab your strap. You're going to make the strap about shoulder width apart, a loop that's about shoulder width apart. All right, and you're going to take that over your wrists, palms facing each other. All right, then straighten the arms out in front of you. Watch what's going on in the spine there. Pull the pubic bone up towards the navel slightly, tops of the buttocks down, and then with an inhalation, bring the arms up, pulling into that strap so that it's creating some energy in the arms. You'll just take it to where it's comfortable for your shoulders. Now look up towards that strap, but as you look up, think about that Adho Virasana and the Adho Svanasana. The chin is connected to the pubic bone. So the pubic bone comes up towards the navel towards the rib cage to sternum bone, everything goes up. Try to touch your fingertips to the ceiling. Exhale, bring the arms down. All right, now take the strap over your right shoulder. All right, you're going to take your left arm across your back. You can help it if you need to and come up. We're taking Gomukhasana. All right, and then right arm, turning the palm forward now. Inner elbow, lead with the inner elbow, and then clasp or grab the strap. All right, so here's that what we talked about before when we had that elbows grab. You want to bring that outer arm bone forward. Right? So go from this look to this look. Really think of trying to move that inner arm bone back, outer arm bone forward. It's not easy. Then gently pull down with your bottom arm as you reach up through your top arm. Feel this stretch. If you did tricep work yesterday, you should feel some stretch through the tricep. Big deep breath. Watch the pelvis. Right, and then top arm up, bottom arm up. Exhale and release. If you need the strap, you'll move the strap to the opposite side. Right, and the right arm comes across. Left arm, you're leading from that inner elbow. Clasp or grab the strap. Lifting the navel, descending the buttocks. And then inner arm bone back, outer arm bone forward. Big deep breath. Pull down gently with that bottom arm as you reach up through that top arm. Another big deep breath. Top arm up, bottom arm up. Adho Mukha, downward facing dog. Doing that Adho Mukha Virasana type of entrance. The knees bent. Find that lateral extension in the sides of the torso. The hands press forward, the hips pull back. And then to straighten the knees, you just lift at the hips. Ooh, it's getting better. And then slowly pull back at the thighs to take the heels closer to the floor. Good. All right, walk your hands and knees forward, just come up, stand in Tadasana for a moment. And then we're gonna go back down into Virasana. Just come upright for a moment. Couple of deep breaths.
I'll be right back.
All right, and then back down into Virasana. Still have your strap handy. You're gonna take that same shoulder width strap around the wrists behind you. Palms will just face each other. You're just gonna pulse to your capacity. Pull on the strap. So it really energizes the arms and just pulse. Doesn't matter how high they go. Just take them to your capacity. And then on your next one, just hold wherever feels comfortable. Right, and then release. Take the strap off and just let your arms relax. Now you may want to block out there in front of you, tall height, medium height. Go ahead and in this Virasana, lean forward and position that block so that it's comfortable under your forehead. If you need to build a little bit taller tower, you can even put a block underneath that. We just want to come forward and have the head supported, right? And then once you've figured it out, you can sit back up. Tall height, low height, it's up to you. Right now, take the strap again around the wrists, behind you. Put your hands on your hips like I've done here, so your elbows are bent. All right, and then squeeze those elbows back together. So you really are feeling that external rotation, the chest opening, and then straighten the arms, bring them to a comfortable height. And then with an exhalation, come forward and rest that head down. And then here again, you can pulse the hands, the arms, and see if you can get a little bit more shoulder extension. When you feel comfortable, you can hold the arms up. Now to come up here, I don't want you just using your back muscles, all right? So you're really gonna drive the hands down to come up. And you can take the strap off and let your arms relax. We're gonna do one more. Take a couple of breaths. And then take that strap one more time over the wrists. Find a comfortable height. And come forward. Let your head rest. And clear these again, the block. And just see how high can you lift those arms. Don't make it uncomfortable. Just take it to a comfortable height. Tracy, lift your right shoulder a little, your right arm a little bit more. There you go. I know that's the tough one, but you're not even. There you go. Left down, right up. There you go. There you go. All right, and then drive your arms down, press with your shins, sit up, release the strap, take a dog pose. Again, going through that Adho Mukha Virasana. Take Adho Mukha Shalabhasana. All right, and walk your hands and feet towards each other, come up and just be again in Svanasana. Just feeling. Okay. For me, these are those orange cough syrup poses where they taste nasty, but they feel really good afterwards. And so just observe. We all have our orange cough syrup poses. Guess I need to come up with an analogy for a pose that tastes nasty and just continues to make you feel nasty. To come up with one of those, because there are a few of those poses too. All right, let's open up a blanket on the floor for some padding. Try to see if you feel like your rug is enough. You don't need to. We're gonna do some belly back bends today. So the blanket is just open like so to kind of pad your pubic bone, your hip blades, and your rib cage. You want to have sticky mat with the foot side, you want to have sticky mat available at the head side. All right, so let's start by just coming down onto the elbows in a kind of a baby Bhujangasana. You can even interlace your fingers if you want to, but have your elbows shoulder width apart. All right, and then turn the fronts of the thighs in, backs of the thighs out, and point your toes back. All right, and then very strongly move the top of the buttock down towards the heels. You could also say taking the tailbone down towards the floor. You can also say grip at the outer buttocks. So the tailbone moves in. If you can see how I kind of lift up a little bit when I do that. Right? So it's not that the lower back has no extension in it. It does, right? But we're just trying to avoid the buttocks raising up and creating discomfort in the lower back. So we're creating space in the lower back. Now, as you press into your elbows, your forearms, your wrists, like you're doing Virasana, press down and bring the lower ribs forward, right? So not back this direction, but kind of pull with your forearms backwards. So you're kind of moving your belly forwards, right? So this is, right? I'm going to pull back and try to move the sides of my navel forward. Right, and the other thing to look at in this is that you're not sinking in the shoulders. Right, so as you press down with the hands, you want to lift up so the shoulder blades come down. And then as you pull back towards you, you're moving the sides of the navel forward. Lift your chin and look up. All right, and then just relax. Arms can go wherever they feel comfortable. Down by your sides, folding, resting them under your forehead. Okay, so we're gonna take a couple of these Bhujangasanas, cobra poses. So what I want you to do is your hands are gonna be pretty much as wide as the mat. And what I want you to think of is your thumb is kind of near your temples, right? That's how far forward your hands are gonna be. Right, but you do want to bring your elbows onto the mat. So we're just gonna come up first onto the forearms. All right, so come up, and then if you want, you can move the elbows in a little bit once you're up. All right, so same action that we had here. As you press down with your hands, lift your, I guess you're lifting your chest up, shoulder blades down. And then as you pull back towards you, move the sides of the navel forward. Tops of the buttocks are moving towards the heels. Right, and then you're gonna press down into your hands and come up off of your elbows, but they may not straighten. Shoulder blades down. Exhale, release, relax the arms. Now we're gonna do 2 more of those. So you have a choice of keeping the hands where they were, more in line with the temples, or start to pull them closer back by your shoulders, right? It's entirely up to you. You want to do the best Bhujangasana you can do so that you're feeling that extension of the front of the spine. All right, so quickly here, roll the fronts of the thighs in again. It's going to turn out. Point the toes back. All right, and then you're taking your hands as wide as the mat. And then you're deciding, thumbs near the temples, or do you want to pull the hands back some? All right, grip those outer buttocks, tops of the buttocks towards the heels, and then you'll come up onto your elbows. You can move the elbows in a bit if you'd like. All right, as you press down, you're bringing the shoulder blades down. And as you pull back, you're moving the sides of the navel forward. All right, and pick those elbows up. It's hard to do that. It's a deeper back bend, and it's very intense in the arms. Exhale, release, relax. And we'll do one more. So think about where you want to position your hands. Do you want to pull them closer? Do you want to keep them where they were? Did you pull them in and that was a little too much? All right, so this is an exploration of finding that nice, cozy-ish Bhujangasana. All right, roll the thighs in, grip those outer buttocks, tops of the buttocks towards the heels, come up onto your elbows. All right, so position your elbows. Your elbows are going to be a little bit closer in than your hands. That helps to create that external rotation. Press down and lift up through your chest. Shoulder blades down towards the waist. All right, and then press into your hands and lift up. Sides of the navel forward. Elbows will stay slightly bent, so there's some energy in the arms. Reach back through your legs, tops of the buttocks towards the heels. Breathe. And come down. Relax. Now we're going to break Shalabhasana up into an upper body and a lower body. Actually, we're going to do upper body and then we're going to add lower body. So you're not going to worry about what happens to your legs. They may lift up, they may not lift up. All right, you're going to work on your upper body first. So let's find that strap that we had before. You have to get up and grab your strap. All right, it should still have a loop in it. All right, and you're going to take that loop on behind your back, over your wrist, and the palms are going to face the ceiling. Don't have the buckle on your sore wrist. All right, palms facing the ceiling. Do a quick little set of the legs, fronts of the thighs in, backs of the thighs out, reach back through the legs. Now just don't worry about the legs. If they pop up, fine. If they stay down, fine. Tops of the buttocks towards the heels. All right, I want you to pull your hands up onto your buttocks so your elbows are bent slightly. All right, now roll your elbows in towards each other. All right, and then as you straighten your arms, reach back like you're trying to touch your toes, lift your chest and look your eyes straight forward. Nice soft eyes. Pull into that strap and try to reach down there and touch your toes. Exhale and release. So you see how much lift you can get in the chest just from using the arms. Okay, we'll do one more with the strap. Strap around the wrists. Have the elbows slightly bent. All right, and then you're bringing the elbows towards each other, but it's really there at the top of the outer shoulders. Roll those arm bones back. Do you feel that opening across the chest? Grip the buttocks, reach back through the legs, and then reach your arms back and see how high can you lift the chest. Lift the chin. Breathe as you're here. Exhale, release. All right, now we're going to ditch the strap. So you're going to have to create that energy in your arms all on your own. Okay, so just rest for a moment. You can feel how much your arms roll in and your back rounds when you're in this position here. All right, wrap your legs. Straight back through the legs, gripping those outer buttocks, tailbone in. All right, so now take the backs of your hands up onto your buttocks. Now your hands may come wider now that you don't have that strap. But I want you to start with the backs of the hands resting on the buttocks. And then you're squeezing that beach ball between the elbows. Lift your face, lift your chest, and reach your arms back like you're trying to touch your heels. Take a couple of deep breaths. And then release. All right. Now yoga is very much, a mind-body connection. So I want you to put your mind on your thigh, right, not quite mid-thigh, but just kind of below the hip crease a little bit. So a little closer to your hip than your knee. Now that may or may not actually come up off the floor for you, but that's the point where I want you to feel like you're lifting from, right? Not from your feet, all right? Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the thighs up off the floor. So if you're just lifting from the feet, right, you may be bending the knee, and also the feet are as far away as possible from the point that you want to lift. So it's going to be heavy, all right? So I want you to think of lifting from that mid-thigh. So what you're going to do is you're just going to cross your hands and let your head rest. So we're not going to worry about the chest for the first couple. And we're going to do one leg at a time. We're not going to do both just yet. All right, so you'll start with your right leg. All right, reach back through that right leg. Make it poker straight. Lock your kneecap. All right, and then from the top of the thigh, lift the leg. So you can push down with your opposite leg and see, can you get that top of the thigh to lift up? And then release. Do that with the other side. Really reach back through the left leg, make it poker straight, and then lift from the thigh, not from the foot, the shin, or the knee, but from the thigh. All right, so just do that like you're swimming. Right side, lower, left side, lower. Do like 4 little swimmer kicks each side. Think about lifting, really put your mind on lifting at that thigh. Okay, so that's where you're gonna lift from as we do the Shalabhasana. So we're putting it all together now. Okay, so prep the legs, turn the fronts of the thighs in, reach back through the legs. Now the legs will lift at the same time. All right. I'm going to give the instructions because I can't say them all at the same time. It's not a chorus. But you want to kind of do these all at the same time. All right. You want the chest and the thighs to lift together. All right. So take the backs of your hands onto your knees, your buttocks. That's a different pose, putting the hands on the knees. Roll the arm bones back. So you're trying to squeeze that beach ball. Now, as you reach your arm bones back, lift up your chest, lift up at the top of the thigh. Nice tight buttocks. So you're keeping that tailbone in. Exhale, release. Good, good, good. Couple more. Okay. I'm going to watch this time. Hands on the buttocks, roll those arm bones, right? And it is a simultaneous action. As you reach back with your hands, reach back with your feet, lift your chest, and think, top of the thigh, lift, 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 lift. This pose, you just hold it to your capacity. So if that's 2 seconds, it's 2 seconds. If it's 30 seconds, it's 30 seconds. Right, Udamas, one more. Roll the arm bones. Get those shoulder blades squeezed together. Squeeze the buttocks and lift. Lift the chest. Top of the thigh. Even if it's not coming up, think top of the thigh. Lift. Breathe. Hold to your capacity. Come down when you're ready. Good. Right, come up out of Svanasana and immediately walk your hands and feet towards each other. And come up. Right, now grab yourself a block. And you're going to use your block tall. I just can't get onto a tall block yet. All right, so you're going to use your block tall. You can use 2 blocks, in a V on your sacrum. You can use 1 block vertically along the sacrum, 1 block horizontally across the sacrum. Setubandha on the block. All right, you'll go tall. I'm going to go medium. Just get yourself into your Setubandha and then we'll make a few adjustments and we'll turn our Setubandha into an upward facing Shalabhasana. Oh. Keep your knees bent to begin with. Now, with your hands, grab the sides of the sticky pad. All right, so this is where having the arms connected to the floor makes that turning of the arm bones a little bit easier. Right, so shift your weight over to your right side a little bit so you can kind of lift up and really turn and tuck that left arm bone out, like you're trying to point the inner elbow to the side. You're taking that very top outer part of the arm bone and try to put it on the floor. And then switch, do that on the other side, all right? So keep that arm nice and tucked, shift the weight to it, and then turn and tuck the other side. All right, and then let go of the sticky mat, place your palms down onto the floor, right? So you feel how this is a Shalabhasana of the arms. Right, so press your arm bones down, press your hands, press your arm bones, and let that upper back move in, chest move to chin. And it's nice because the sticky mat helps hold those arm bones. What you should be feeling is that your back and your neck are not on the floor, right? It's more the outer arm bones, the shoulder blades. Okay, now walk your feet closer, not together, but closer. Toes in, heels out, so the outer edges of your feet are parallel to the sides of the mat, and pressurize your inner feet. All right, so up on the tall block, this should bring a little bit of a stretch into your quadriceps. Okay, keep that pressure on the inner feet. Grip your outer buttocks and really take the tops of the buttocks to the heels. Tailbone up towards the ceiling. All right, and then you're just gonna keep your right foot on the floor. Keep your right knee bent. Start to crawl your left foot out. Eventually lift your toes and push with your heel to straighten that leg. Really maintain the press of the arms. Extend that leg straight, keep the grip of the buttocks. Bend the left knee, place it onto the floor. Grip the buttocks, tailbone up to the ceiling. Buttocks to the heels, now crawl the right leg out. Keep the left leg firm on the floor. Eventually lift your toes so you're pushing with your heel. It's like a Tadasana leg. Toes are up. Maintain that pressure of the arms. Straighten the leg. Right, bend the right leg, foot on the floor. Now, you can repeat one leg at a time or you can do both. All right, press your arm bones down. Really get that chest to lift up and then strong pelvic tilt there. Tops of the buttocks to the heels, tailbone up. Crawl your feet out some, and then when you can, lift the toes and press. Keep that tight tuck of the buttocks. Now think about that top of the thigh we talked about in the Shalabhasana. Press that spot down to the floor. And then bend the knees. Press into your feet, lift your hips, lower your block to the lowest level. Let your sacrum rest on that lowest level for a moment. And then lift your hips, take the block completely out. Go completely flat. Roll to your side and sit up. Find your strap again. And this time we're going to open that strap up to the biggest loop you can make. And if you need to go even wider, you can undo the loop. But this creates handles, so it's very nice. Right, and then you're going to lay back down. And you're going to take both feet. Strap both feet so you can then hold the handles. All right, so this is not going to be probably for both of you, it's not gonna be the most intense hamstring stretch, it's a little bit of a stretch, but just go no more than 90 degrees. Or arms straight. Have the strap a little more towards your heels. So when you pull on that strap, you really feel the femurs coming into the hip sockets. You really feel the weight of the back on the floor. Okay, now keep your right leg in the strap and straighten your left leg along the floor. Again, just a 90-degree of the leg. You don't have to pull it towards your head. We're doing this more for the back than the hamstrings. Have that right leg straight. If the line doesn't look straight, there's so much swelling. Okay. All right, left leg back up into the strap. Both legs for a moment. Observe the difference in the back when both legs are up. All right, and then left leg stays in, right leg comes down. Straighten that right leg along the mat. Pull down on the left. One more time, both legs up into the strap. Then bend your knees, bring your feet down to the floor. We're gonna twist, but I want you to pick your hips up, move your right hip as far to the right hand side of your mat as you can. So you're essentially putting your left hip in line with your spine, and then you're gonna roll the legs over to the left as the head and the belly turn to the right. So when we keep the hips even and we roll, there's a slight little back bendy element that comes into the twist. All right, so this just takes that out and lets it be just mostly a twist. Okay, we're not doing this for the abs, so relax your abdomen. Just let the spine twist. Pull back over. You'll take the left hip all the way over to the left hand side of the mat, and then drop the knees to the right as you turn the head and belly to the left. Nice soft abdomen. Take a couple of deep breaths. Okay, and then roll back onto your back. Line up the hips and the shoulders and bring both knees in towards your chest. Pull the shin bones towards your head as you release the lower back. Slowly bring your feet back down to the floor. Take the soles of your feet together and let your knees drop wide. It doesn't have to be a tight Baddha Konasana. Just let it be a little bit of a Svanasana there. Together, straighten your legs. Actually, before you straighten your legs, do a strong tuck of the buttocks towards the heels. And then straighten your legs for Shavasana. Place one hand on your abdomen, one hand on your chest, and take 3 nice deep breaths, feeling the lift of the abdomen, the lift of the chest. Really carefully bend your knees. Feel the soles of the feet connected with the ground. Then we've had blocks and things out, so as you roll to either side, make sure you're not rolling onto any props. Take all the time that you need on your side. Rest with your arms when you're ready to sit up. And we'll take just a quiet moment here. Head low, eyes closed. Thank yourself for coming to class and continuing your practice. Slowly raise your head. Slowly open your eyes.